Lace up your skates, fasten your chin strap, hit the ice, drop the puck. The Johnstown Tomahawks present Hockey Central. Now here's your host, Troy Roberts. Welcome in, Johnstown Tomahawk fans. I hope everybody had a great week. Thank you for joining the show today. We have another great one in store for you. As always, Coach Mike Letizia joins me. We also have a great guest on the show today. A hot goalie named Drew Hotte. Yes, there was pun intended there. And then, of course, at the end of the show, we spend a little bit of time with communications manager Mike Gosnell. You're going to talk about how you can get your tickets to come out and watch the boys play at War Memorial. Now, again, Coach and I would like to make the show interactive. We'd like to talk to the fans. We'd like to answer your questions. Make sure you go follow me on Twitter at TroyRobert967. Tweet me your questions for Coach. You have up until Tuesday morning as Coach and I get together every Tuesday afternoon. So again, my Twitter handle at TroyRobert967. Tweet me your questions for Coach, and we'll have Coach's segment at the end of our interview. So again, go out, follow me on Twitter at TroyRobert967. So it was the home opener on Friday night. The War Memorial was rocking. It was Military Appreciation Night for Veterans Day. We're going to talk to Mike Gosnell here at the end of the show to talk about the attendance numbers, which are amazing for everybody to go out and show their support of the Tomahawks. But the outcome was not where people wanted it. The Tomahawks fell to the Rebels on Friday night. But nonetheless, they had a chance again on Saturday night. Unfortunately, the outcome was the same as they dropped another game. Now, the good thing about Saturday night is it was an overtime loss, so they did get 1 point, but nonetheless, not a weekend that Coach had hoped for. So the Tomahawks are in a little bit of a skid right now, but we're going to look to bounce back this weekend as they travel to Wilkes-Barre for a 2-game stand. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome in Coach Mike Letizia.
Well, Coach, it was a home opener on Friday night and probably not the right outcome that you had wanted. I joked with you when we got on the show before that I'm surprised that you actually agreed to come and talk to me again on Tuesday, but thanks for coming on the show again.
Yeah, I know. We said last week that if these trends were continuing, we're going to have to maybe reschedule the show for another date until we fix it up. I'm fully blaming you for the last couple games. No, happy to be here again, and look forward to talking to you on this week's show.
Yeah, well, and I was unable to make it out this weekend, prior commitments that I had. So maybe the way that we bucked the trend at home is that I just show up at all the home games. So that's going to be the goal. For me to be able to get to the home games, we're gonna ride this thing out, Coach, because you're looking at the way they're playing. And, of course, I read the great press releases that Mike puts out, and it looks like they were very competitive games over the weekend. So my first question for all the fans, it was the home opener. And I know the guys have been waiting a long time to get to play at home. What was the atmosphere like on Friday night, a little bit before the puck dropped and then right after the puck dropped at War Memorial?
It was obviously pretty impressive crowd, a lot of great things going on, a lot of build-up throughout the entire week to get to the game, a lot of different, meetings or presentations or, speeches from different people. So a lot of different things kind of built up to Friday night as far as, the opportunity for the home game in Johnstown and the home opener and everything like that. And, so a lot was going on. And, heading into Friday, I think, there was a little bit of nerves and things like that. And the front office, they always do put on a great show, great intro show, in regards to our opening ceremonies, the introductions of our players, the veterans introductions, the pregame spectacle was really impressive and really meaningful. And, I think, and there was a lot going on, and it was great, and our guys, I think at times maybe things got a little bit overwhelming. We had a lot of guys that never played at home before. Obviously never played in front of crowds like that before, an atmosphere like that. We touched on it before, and sometimes the excitement, as big as it is, It's also tough, and these guys are still kids. A lot of them are only 17, 18 years old, and so it's natural for them to have a little bit of nerves. And I think just in general in sports, I'm a big Blackhawks fan, being from Chicago, and I used to go to a lot of games before I moved out here. And a lot of times they'd have their long road trips, whether it was when the circus was in town or the ice show, and they have a good road trip, and everybody would be excited, and hey, we're gonna get back home, and then sometimes that first game back is a little bit of a the baby step process sometimes. So I don't know, it was one of those games. It was a tight game. At the end of the day, it was still a one-goal game. You're still in it. You still had an opportunity to tie it late. I just thought we didn't have our normal game for whatever reason that day. But again, it was very tight. You know what I mean? And so Friday night, wasn't our ideal way we wanted to play, or obviously the outcome as well.
Well, Coach, like you said, these games were very tight, and you're playing against Aston, who is, you had mentioned last week, probably the top rival game right now. You're playing them at home, the home opener. You're looking up at them in the standings, so you knew they were going to be close games. But take the losses away, put those on a different plate right now. When you look at the overall performance of this team, when you're matching up, and we'll have to say, against the best team in the division right now, because they're in first place, how do you felt that you match up over the whole weekend against Aston? Because you're going to see them again, and they're the team above you in the conference or the division right now. But overall, how do you think you matched up? And as you look to the future, how competitive do you think you can be as you play them later in the year?
Oh, I think it'd be really competitive. I saw the way we bounced back on Saturday night. We shuffled our lines a little bit just to get a little bit of a jolt into the lineup. We felt that maybe we're a little bit too consistent just as far as keeping everything the same, and maybe we had to throw a little different look. I think it energized the team. I thought we came off flying Saturday. I thought our mojo was back, so to speak. I thought our effort was really strong. We played physical. We had a lot of energy, created a lot of chances, controlled a lot of the play for the most part. Did a lot of things you want to do. And unfortunately, they don't show it, but it was a game that I felt we played hard enough to win. I think we have that effort night in and night out. We're going to see success more times than not. I think we hit 3 posts alone in that game. I think Andy Isle hit 2 of them himself. We had pucks lay on the goal line. Pucks just, for whatever reason, just couldn't cash in that go-ahead goal. And unfortunately, overtime they were able to slip one in. But I thought our effort was pretty good. I thought we heavily outshot them. We heavily outchanced them. I thought we outworked them. So I saw a lot of good things in that game on Saturday. Obviously, the result wasn't what we wanted. We didn't pick up the overtime point, which I felt we should have been able to get the 2 points. So we're not satisfied by any means. But in the scheme of things, it was a small step in the right direction, just in how we want to play. Because I think Friday night we didn't play accordingly to our style. And Saturday we bounced back. I think we saw some good things out of some guys, and hopefully something we can carry into our next game on Friday night.
Yeah, and like I said, when I read the press releases that Mike had sent out, it sounded in the way that it was that you guys actually had a lot of great moments in these games. And sometimes, and correct me if I'm wrong, Coach, in tight games against good teams, sometimes you have to get the lucky bounce, and it just seemed like maybe that was the case. Puck just didn't bounce your way over the weekend, but to me, that shows that this is a team where you get one of those lucky breaks, and it's kind of like a domino effect, and you can play off that momentum. Is that kind of what happened over the weekend? Puck just not bouncing your way?
Yeah, like you just kind of looking at Saturday. Our last game we played, I think they scored one to get up to 1-0 lead. And I think it was like 30 seconds after that or something, Andy Isle tied it right back up. So those are the momentum swings you try to get. If you get down one, what can you do to get the momentum back on your side? And scoring that goal and tie it right back up was big for us. Our second goal, we were able to have a nice play. Put that one on, take the lead. We're kind of sitting on it a little bit, and unfortunately they were able to tie it up early in the third, but again, we had a lot of chances. I know just going back to the second period, we were up 2-1. Phillips scored that second goal off the face-off there. We got a lot of momentum from it, and then I think Andy Isle on the power play, I believe it was, rang one right under the crossbar, like half an inch, and it goes in, the other half an inch it comes out, and it wasn't a goal, and that was how close that was, and then he hit another post in the third period, and, Sammy Selensky in overtime, takes one to the net, puck lays on the goal line. I mean, there's a couple other ones that were just out of reach, or however you will, and hopefully those start going in the right way, and you start worrying when you don't get chances. Chances were there. We got to make sure we're burying them and jumping on rebounds, jumping on loose pucks, and different things like that. But like I said, never want to be in a little bit of a funk that we're in right now. But just as far as scoring more goals and winning games, we talked about it the first time you're on the show, and you said how the offense was clicking, and it was. And sometimes you go through a couple stretches where things aren't as easy to come by, and you have to manufacture your offense a little bit, manufacture your own energy a little bit, and that's the biggest thing. You want to make sure that you're doing things, like you said earlier, to get yourself some momentum, create your energy within your team, and hopefully work a little bit harder to gain the results you want. But that was our 20th game, and at the end of the day, it was our first third of the season, and at 13-5-2, it's not awful. Obviously, there's some games in there that we definitely felt we could have won and had a better record, after 20, but, we got to make sure our next 20, we can improve on that. And if we do that, I think heading into that final third of the season, we should be setting ourselves up, for a fine playoff run.
Yeah, you can never go back and change what's happened in the past, Coach. And I know you and I talked last week, win or loss, teaching moments, especially in junior hockey. So you look at this weekend, and I can never stress enough. I mean, it's a rival game, tough game against a really good team. Guys went in, played well, maybe a break here and there. Maybe the outcomes are different. Maybe you gather a few more points. But from the weekend, Friday and Saturday, what is the teaching moment from this weekend that you brought into practice this week?
Just the pace you got to play and how hard you got to compete, and how to get around pucks and get pucks to the net, bury and lose pucks. There's a lot of things. We have teaching moments all the time. Defending around our net. We did. Monday we did a lot of around the net stuff. Whether it was us defending our net, get sticks and bodies out of the way, or us fighting to get the loose pucks and putting them in, because sometimes those are the differences. In Aston, their second goal was they got it on the net. They have a big forward that made some presence felt, and he was able to bang in a rebound. But stuff like that. Special teams. I thought our penalty kill was pretty good. We've talked about it in the past, but it's a little bit of a struggle. They scored 1 5-on-3 goal that was kind of a lucky rebound, but they were able to put it in. But our penalty kill for the most part was pretty good. And Aston has one of the best power plays in the league, and for the most part we shut it down. Unfortunately, our power play didn't click this weekend. I think we had some good looks, and we just were unable to execute at different times. Whether it was just gripping our sticks a little bit too tight on pucks, or maybe again one of those things where we had a power play early in even on Friday night, early in the first period, we had a couple real nice looks, a couple pucks that popped out and just hopped over our stick for potential goals, or what have you. So you never know. You get one of those early on Friday, and you never know. The momentum could change a little bit. We could feel a little more confidence, a little more energy, but it didn't go that way, and nothing you can do about it now. Like we've said, you can't go back and change the past. You can only learn from it, and that's what we're looking to do. And we gotta change the outcome come Friday night, and that's what we're looking to do.
If you notice, Coach, I didn't talk anything about the penalty kill at all today, because I looked at the stats, and yes, you did pretty well. Now that you brought it up, I'm going to talk about it. You really did do well against a very good power play unit. So when you look at the special teams, it was something we talked about the prior 2 weeks. You did much better on special teams this week against killing that penalty. And when you look at the guys, how do you build off that momentum? Because special teams, we've talked about it every week, it is such a different pace to the game, and it's a different element. But how do you build off the success you had against Aston, which, if you look at the history, you guys should have struggled against a very good power play, but you did very well. How do you build off that momentum?
We just got to take the pieces that we did well on. We challenged ourselves within that structure, the PK, and try to combat their power play a little bit. Again, we've seen it a lot over the last season and a few months this season. They haven't changed it much. Obviously, a few pieces have changed because of new players. But it's a very similar power play that they've ran for the last 2 seasons. So you get to see it a little bit, or should say quite a bit. And we have some different ways that we feel, can go up against it. Now, obviously, they're going to have their tweaks and adjustments that we'll have to tweak and adjust with. But I give credit to the players. They buckled down. They blocked shots. They, broke up their momentum at times on their entries. We were able to clear pucks out when we had to. Unfortunately, it wasn't perfect, that one blemish, but it's something to build on as far as PK goes. I think it's one of those things where we have to make sure we buckle down, not just against Aston, because honestly, in our 4 games against Aston, our PK has been pretty good. It's been a little bit of a difference maker. The other difference, though, we played them a couple weeks ago, was our power play was able to cash in, and this time it wasn't. It could have been a little bit of a difference, but the PK was good. We have to make sure that it's good every night and gets better. There's no way we can keep it where it was as far as the season, but if we could take this and try to put it towards improving it as a whole, it will definitely help us in the long run, and something we have to do. It's like I talked about, it's a huge part of the game. I thought we limited our penalties. There were still some, especially Friday night, but there was nothing that I think was one of those where I would say, wow, why did we take that one? A couple calls that, were maybe not, perfect calls, at the same time, nothing that I thought where we were retaliated or we were lazy or we were, unnecessary. They were all, whether they were battle plays or maybe an accidental tripping here or there that, it's going to be called whether we mean it or not. And then Saturday, the only one I would argue, obviously, is at the end of the game on Friday. Their guy corkscrewed Nick Bruce pretty bad as he beat him for the loose puck. And I think they called Nick for a dive or something, which I really didn't agree with. Especially after watching that tape, it was pretty evident. But again, what can you do? So, on Saturday I thought we were pretty disciplined for the most part. If we do that, I think obviously we'll limit our PK opportunities so that we'll only get a few a game. You have a little more energy or a little bit more mojo to go out and kill that one. You look at it in the eye and say, hey, it's 2 minutes, let's go kill it and get back to work. It's a lot better thing to look at as opposed to, an over and over and over and over, 3 times a period. It's no good. So, like I said, step in the right direction, but still a long way to go to fix that from an overall standpoint.
Yeah, Coach, like I said, I wasn't going to mention it, because I looked at the box score and I looked at the success. We're going to leave it at that. I want to go back to one last thing over the weekend, and we talked about it just a little bit ago. Sometimes you need those breaks and those lucky bounces, and you catch a break here and there. I used to coach soccer, and in a similar situation, I would say a lot of times you create your own opportunities, and sometimes you can create your own good luck. And talking to you the short time that we've known each other, I think you're kind of in that same mindset by the work that the guys do off the puck. And I've talked to the guests on the show about this. When you looked at the movement and the different things off of the puck over the weekend, how was that play? Was the play off the puck to your liking?
I would say on Saturday it was. Friday I thought we were a little slow at times. I think the guys would probably be able to confirm that. Again, it's a new experience for a lot of guys. For some of them, it may have been a little bit of a big eye opener with to play in front of that type of crowd, things like that. And we talked about, hey, listen, like this is the way Johnstown is. It's you're going to get a big crowd every game. You know what I mean? So it's nothing you can't get or overcome. So Saturday, I thought our play away from the puck was a lot better. I thought we were a lot hungrier. We were putting pucks into places. We were going to get them first. We were a lot more physical. Tommy Horn is a difference maker for us. He creates a lot of energy. He's a really good hockey player. He's a hungry player. He's got the skill. Plays hard. He missed Friday's game. He got back in there Saturday. I think he provided us a pretty big spark, and amongst other guys as well. So Saturday, I thought we were working hard for our breaks, and that's why I saw them coming. And maybe it was the the hockey gods were telling us still not quite yet. You know what I mean? It's you're getting close, but you got to do a little bit more if you want to break through. And sometimes you just got to create your own breaks, create your own karma. And again, if something's going to happen, I mean, by no means are we in a obviously, like I said, it was pretty, the first 15 games we were rolling right along, and now the last few it's been a little bit more challenging, but at the same time it's a good little taste of adversity and a good little wake up call to our group and us as coaches to say, hey, okay, listen, you don't want to get complacent. We never want to in the first place, but here's another look in the eye and say, okay, what are we going to do to pull out of this? We've been banged up with some injuries and different things, but hey, there's no excuses here. The guys don't make them, and we're looking forward to the next challenge and looking to overcome it.
Well, Coach, I go through and I prepare. I get all these great questions that I want to make sure I ask you and ask our guests. And so now you threw me for a loop today on a comment you made a little earlier in the show. And you talked about a third of our season is done, so now we go into the second third. And so I guess for the fans, as a coach, and I kind of know where you're going with this, being a former coach, you said that a third of the season is done now, 20 games in. How do you break the season down and let the fans know? You talk about a third done, now going into the second third. How do you prepare your season? And, I guess the question, why do you break it down into thirds? What is the mentality coaching junior hockey to do it that way with you and your staff?
I don't necessarily know if we really break it down to thirds, so to speak, but, that's kind of what I looked at after the 20 games. But you do break it down into segments. You do break it down, just looking at things. And, in the overall picture, how you're going to start. You want to build the right habits, build team chemistry, different things like that. Because with our group this year, a lot of new faces that came in, so we got to make sure you're doing that early. And you start there. You want to build good individual habits, build good team habits. Start to form an identity of what your team is going to be, and on and off the ice. And then as you hit your next wave, then you try to say, okay, hey, where are we at after that first tier of games, and how are we going to improve? What steps have we done well? What steps do we need to improve on? As you're kind of in that middle frame there, and then you take a look at your personnel and your players, and hopefully they're progressing in a positive direction. And then that last wave, you're really fine tuning and really starting to hopefully, putting the finishing touches on what you're trying to do as far as, overall team preparation, hitting your stride, and, being hopefully for lack of a better term, a well-oiled machine as far as what you want to do heading into the playoffs and making a championship run, So I mean, that's, I guess, the overall scheme for us. Sometimes, you look at short-term and you look at long-term. Like we've had an interesting schedule, no question about that with our road games, and then a weekend off in October, and then we have a stretch here, and then we have a kind of long Christmas break compared to what we're used to. Then we come out and play a few games, and then we have another weekend off, and a lot of home games. So we're kind of looking at it right now from my standpoint. You never want to look too far ahead by any means. We always want to take things one day at a time, but you can almost look at the next 8 games. If 8 games left before our Christmas break, it's basically 4 weekends of 2 games. And what are we going to do heading into the break? You basically can tell the guys, listen, you have a month, 4 weeks. Give us your best for 4 weeks. Give us your very best for 4 weeks here, and then you get to enjoy some holiday time with your friends and your family. And I'm a huge believer in these young men getting a break and a quality break to spend time with their friends and their family, especially during holidays. I played junior hockey. It's like a long time ago. It was about 10 years ago now. That you know the season's a grind. That these kids give up a lot, and rightfully so. Hey, they're looking to get a future in this game, and they give up a lot. They sacrifice a lot of their own personal life with friends, with family, with with a lot of things the average, kid their age gets to do. And, they're privileged as well, understandably. But, those Christmas breaks or those holiday breaks they're vital, and these kids do need a little bit of rest here and there, and they need to enjoy family. So, I'm a big believer in that. I believe they should get their breaks. So we're focusing, basically our next 8 games as we head into break. And I tell the guys, give us your best. Give us your very best for 4 weeks. You can enjoy a nice break with your family and your friends, enjoy the holidays, and basically come back and take on the defending North American Hockey League champions over New Year's. So if you're looking for a segment, that would be the next segment.
Yeah, you touched on a lot of stuff there, and I think with junior hockey, I don't think a lot of people know the commitment that these young men have made to play in the NAHL. It's not. It is, I guess, when you play, it's always supposed to be fun, right, Coach? We've talked about that. You want to make it fun, but I'm not sure if people really realize the commitment that these young men are making. To spend time away from friends, family, and basically, with a long season, they are committing themselves to their hockey futures, and that break is definitely something that I think is well deserved from these young men. So looking ahead, Coach, time to take on Wilkes-Barre again. They were your first 2 games of the year, 4-3, 6-4 win for Johnstown. What has changed over basically 2 months? As you prepare, you go back, you were at home, you go on the road again. What are you expecting from this team? You've already seen them once, but I would imagine there's some changes from when you saw them before.
Yeah, there's changes on both sides. The first 2 games were obviously our 2 first regular season games of the year, so both teams are a little bit sloppy. Still feeling each other out, still feeling ourselves out as far as the makeup of our group. We've had some personnel changes since those games with some of the new players we've gotten. So it's been a little bit of a different look. I would imagine both teams are a little bit more confident as far as how they play, just in the sense of it's 20 games in now, not just 2. You know what I mean? So you have a little bit more familiarity with your game and your roster and things like that. Wilkes-Barre is a team that plays the game hard, plays a high-paced style, comes at you from all angles. They're, Tom Cole, their coach, does a nice job. And, so it's one of those things that we're going to have to kind of peek at the tape again and just get a feel of some of their tendencies. So it's going to be nice for us, though. Obviously, it's a team we haven't played in a while, so a little fresh opponent. So we're looking forward to it. We always have good games. Them always have close games. The first 2 earlier this year, I thought, we had good moments. I remember the second game. We were trailing, I believe, going to the third, or it was tied or something. And we had Dalton and a couple other guys scored some pretty highlight reel goals. And next, we were up 6-4 and ended up sweeping the weekend. So it's a good opportunity for us. We got to make sure we're ready to go and ready to take them on come Friday night.
Well, and you mentioned you get to see new blood, and you get to see them new blood 2 weeks in a row. This is an away-home series, so you got 2 this weekend on the road. Then you see them flip-flop right back at home. Is that an advantage, Coach, to play a team back-to-back weekends, or do you think that's a disadvantage?
It can be. It all depends on how the games go. If you're exploiting some opportunities for your team to that work to your advantage, and you can continue to do that, and you find some tendencies that you can take advantage of, or if your guys are just clicking, or your matchups are working well, or different things like that. Yeah, it definitely can be of an advantage. But honestly, I've said it a few times now, there's never an easy day or never an easy game in our league. It's a war every single night. So, from one day, and like I said, we saw it just this past weekend. I don't think our team was as good as we can be on Friday night. And then Saturday, I think we rebounded and played a totally different style. Obviously, the outcome, wasn't a win, but, we played a lot different. And I would say Aston probably would tell you the same thing, that, we were a different team on Saturday night. So you know, all those things can happen. You know, I guess it goes back to the comment I just made. These guys are still young kids, you know, and so you know, how quickly things can change, you know, from one day to the next. So it can have its advantages. It also can have its disadvantages. So that you know, we like I said, looking at that, it could go either way. You know, hopefully, like I said, we find some opportunities to work to our advantage.
Yeah, well, it should be exciting. I mean, you look at where they're at. They're the ones looking up at you in the standings, and you look at, you know, like you said, Jeff probably put a lot of stock into those early games. They were so, and I would say so long ago, especially in the world of hockey. And like you said, different personnel, things have changed. Teams have settled down a little bit. But, you know, as you move forward, it looks like this could be a great opportunity to get back to your winning ways and gather up a few points on the road. What are some of the keys for victory for you? I know you just mentioned a few, but when you're looking at preparing this team, what are the things that you must absolutely do well this weekend to come away with 2 victories?
You know, I think our compete level has to be extremely high. I know it's a term that's used quite a bit, but we have to make sure that we're not taking anything for granted, and we're willing to outwork the other team as much as we can every single shift. We have to have good puck management. What that means basically is, you know, when we don't have possession, first of all, get it, you know, obviously competing hard to get it. But then when we have the puck, you know, what are we doing with it? You know, are we taking high percentage shots? Are we taking smart shots? Are we making the easy plays that result in good things for our team? You know, we're not trying to do too much or make this extra special play that's a little bit risky and it could cause some issues. You know, if we have to advance the puck into the zone, whether it's, you know, a dump move or a chip and chase or something, you know, are we putting into an area that we can get the puck back and maintain, you know, offensive zone possession, you know, limiting our turnovers. Like I said, I know it's a lot of stuff, but that's kind of all the things that go into a game, you know, obviously. And then special teams, you know, are we limiting our penalties? Are we staying disciplined? If we are shorthanded, are we killing the penalties? When our power play gets opportunities, are we able to make them count? So, you know, and ultimately, you know, solid defense as a team, not just a defenseman, but a solid commitment to defense, you know, winning our own zone, and then, you know, then good goaltending, because obviously that's a vital part of everything. And, you know, we get all those elements, which are a lot, but it's what you have to ask for. And there's also other, you know, finer details of everything that, you know, come into play. But, you know, there's just some of the main points that we have to make sure that we're taken care of, and those things should help in our goal of getting 2 and then hopefully 4 points on the weekend.
Yeah, well, it's going to be an exciting time. I know you got to go back on the road, and the guys are like, man, we just came home. Now we got to go back on the road. But throughout the course of our conversation, I heard the phone beep, so I'd imagine that Drew Hotte has joined us. Drew, have you joined us?
Yes, I have.
All right, Drew, thanks for coming on the show today. How are you doing today?
I am doing well. It's a pleasure to be on.
Well, thank you. I've talked about you a lot the last 2 weeks. And, Coach, you know, we've talked about goaltending, special teams, the game itself, and it always comes down to you got to have a good, solid guy in the pipe. Drew is the guy that has been off, and, you know, yes, Drew, there's a pun intended, off to a hot start this year to help the team to get to where they're at. But when you look at it, Drew, the success that you've had personally and the team's success early on, I'm going to get to that, but I want to, as a player, I asked Coach before you joined us, you had a chance at the home opener Friday night. That place was, you know, unbelievable for you guys when you've been away for so long. As a player, what were the emotions like for the home opener on Friday night at the War Memorial for you?
Oh, it was an unbelievable experience. You know, I've came to the team a little bit late this year, but obviously I didn't miss any home games since we've been on the road for so long. So I've continually heard from the billet parents and just the folks around town who are hockey fans, you know, just how great of a town Johnstown is to play in as a hockey player. So I've been hearing a lot about that, and it was great to have the opportunity to finally play in front of the home crowd. And, you know, like you said, there was a great turnout for the game. So that was obviously a great experience and a lot of fun to play in front of. And then it was also extra special since it was, you know, our military appreciation night, that just added to, the game and the whole feeling of the game. So, it was a lot of fun, and it was a great experience, and I'm really looking forward to all the home games that we have coming up in the next few months.
Yeah, you guys have been on the road a long time, and like you said, you joined the team a little bit late, but you joined the team where you're on this long stretch of away games. As a goaltender, and I will throw this out there, and Coach, I'm not even sure if I told you, when I was real little, I played goalie for like 1 or 2 years, and then the puck started coming off the ice. And Drew, when the puck started coming off the ice, that's when I said time to quit playing this silly sport because I can't have a puck coming at my head. So I appreciate what you do in the pipes, but as a goalie, it's you are not the guy that's able to skate up and down the ice and take the hits all the time. You are the guy that is the defender of the homeland. You are keeping the puck out of the net. But when you're on the road so long, how do you prepare yourself as a goaltender to be ready to play, especially when you're on the road like that? And what was your mental state to prepare for that long road trip, and then you finally get home?
You have to try to just prepare like any other day. Obviously, as a goaltender, it's a little bit more difficult than it is for some of the players. A player can take the first few shifts of a game, make a few hits, make a few passes, and try to get into the game mentally and, get a little bit more warmed up and ready to go. But as a goalie, you don't have that privilege. For the away games, it can be hard sometimes when you're sitting on a bus for 6, 7, 8 hours, whatever it may be, and then you have to show up at the rink, unpack your gear, and do your best to get warmed up before the game so that from the moment the puck drops, you're ready to go and you're prepared. And, it can be a tough thing to do. Fortunately, this is my second year of playing junior hockey, so I've had that experience with the long bus rides, and I've just had that experience of how to properly prepare myself to get ready. I've found out what works for me and what doesn't. Personally, I'll usually show up at the rink for those away games, try to hop in the shower quick, just to wake myself up a little bit, and then warm up as hard as possible and, run around a little bit more than I would maybe for a home game, just to, get my legs back under me and get my legs warmed up and get my body warmed up, get a good sweat going. And then I do some juggling as well to get a little bit more mentally prepared. So, there are a few different things that I do that I've found that work for me. Obviously, everybody is different, but being my second year, it's, I have it down to a rhythm, and, I have my system down. So even though it is harder for some of the away games to mentally prepare yourself, you also have to add a positive spin onto the situation, and knowing that in the long run this season, it's going to be a good thing and it's going to be a beneficial thing to have as many away games as we had early in the season. As we come up here on Christmas break and when we get back from Christmas break, it can start feeling like a long season, which it obviously is with a 60-game schedule. It's obviously a long season. And to have such a long stretch of home games that we will have in the mid to end of the season, I think it's really going to be beneficial when we don't have to drive 8 hours in February when the guys are more tired and a little bit more run down. So even though it's been difficult to be able to put that positive spin on it and to have a positive outlook on it has helped out a lot. And, it was hard, but I'm glad that we have the schedule and have the layout the way that we do.
Sure. Well, and like you said, when you're looking at that big stretch of home games, that's going to be a pivotal time of the season when you guys are trying to collect points for playoff position, getting yourselves into that position to be in the playoffs. I want to switch over, though, Drew. You're a guy that has been pretty solid in the pipes this year. And the one thing Coach and I have talked about, and Coach, I'm not jinxing it. Penalty kill was off to a slow start over the weekend, got a little bit better. As a goalie, when that hand goes up and that referee is calling a penalty, and you know you're going on the penalty kill, as a goaltender, what do you do? Is there another level that you bring yourself to, knowing, hey, look, I'm going to be under stress here for 2 minutes, and I really need to step up? Or what happens when you know that as a goaltender you are getting ready to go on the power play kill?
Everybody would like to say that they're constantly at the highest level that mentally that they want to be at, and the highest level of mental readiness, I should say, that they want to be at. But obviously, it's a 60-minute game. It's a long game, and you can't always be at that peak performance the whole time. And when you do see that your team is going to be on the penalty kill, there is a little something inside you that, flicks on usually that, you tell yourself, okay, it's 2 minutes or 4 minutes or 5 minutes, whatever it may be, that you really have to be on your game and you really have to be the backstop for your team, because penalty kills can be game-changing moments. They can be energy-shifting moments and momentum-shifting moments in a game when you have a big penalty kill. And, you kill it off and you maybe make a few big saves that will really help out your team. And you can even feel the energy sometimes after a good penalty kill. And then your team responds in a good way and will come back and have a few really strong shifts after the penalty kill. So, in order to make that happen, you do have to really bear down. You have to focus hard, and you have to make sure that you're ready for it, because being a man down or 2 men down, the other team is going to get some opportunities, and they're most likely going to get some good opportunities, even though you plan your best and put your best guys out there for the job, and you hope that it doesn't happen, but it's inevitable that the other team is going to get good opportunities when when the penalty kill has to come out on the ice. So, you just plan for it, you get ready for it, and, there is definitely a little something extra that, sparks inside you to get ready for those penalty kills when the referee's arm goes up.
And so I'm gonna ask from the player's perspective. I talked to Coach a little earlier, Drew, about the penalty kill getting a little bit better this weekend. And from your perspective as a goaltender, you look at some deficiencies early on. That's what I'll call them, deficiencies, but much better penalty kill over the weekend against a very good power play unit. What do you attribute that to? I know it's one of those things where you're in the back and you're the goalie, but what do you see from the goaltending side that shows you the penalty kill got better over the weekend?
Well, I think our coaches can attribute to that a lot, and they've helped out a lot just adjusting our system. As you move into this later part of the season and to the middle part of the season, you are able to start doing film and video of teams, and you start to learn their tendencies for their different power play units. So, our coaches put in a lot of time and work, into the film and the video, and they've really thoroughly studied every team, and they, at this time, 20 games into the season, they know the best way to kill all the team's different power play units. And that has definitely helped out a lot, just working with the coaches in practice and, just finding the best guys for the job, the guys that are willing to block a shot or clear a rebound or ice the puck. That helps out a lot, and I think that's been a big help to us. So I think the coaches are definitely, the ones to thank with that. And obviously the guys on the penalty kill have really stepped up. They've really done a good job blocking shots and supporting the goalies back there, you know, whether it be clearing the rebounds or icing the puck to give us a little bit of a break for a few seconds, or, you know, possessing the puck. They're obviously a huge part of it as well and have been doing a great job. So just those guys working hard alongside with the coaches have really helped out our penalty kill, I believe.
Yep, moving in a positive direction, Coach. That's where we're going with that. And so, Drew, I always ask this question. I am an opposing coach, and so when I look at Drew Hotte in the goal, from your perspective, what is your strongest point? And then as you look at your hockey future, what are the things that you need, or the thing that you need to consistently improve on to be able to progress your hockey career?
So for me, you know, I believe one of the good things that I bring to the table is just my athleticism and my skating ability. You know, I am not the largest goalie. I'm, you know, around 6 feet tall. So I'm not small, but I'm not big. So, you know, it's important for me to be able to move across the crease very quickly, to be able to come out to challenge the puck and to challenge the shooters. So, you know, I think my skating ability is very strong, and, you know, I do think I'm one of the faster goalies and quicker goalies, which has definitely helped me out a lot to, you know, make some of the difficult saves and to be where I'm at right now. And then moving forward, you know, I think one of the, at this level at least, one of the most important things that every goalie can work on is just rebound control and puck control. You know, just making sure that there is never a rebound anywhere for the opposing team to get it. You know, I think that if you can make every save and either hold on to the puck or put the rebound into the corner, then you're going to be doing your job and you're going to be helping out your players a lot. And no matter what level you're at, you always see goalies working on that. Even at the NHL level, goalies are always working on their rebound control. So I think that's definitely a big part to helping me move forward.
Wonderful. So, Coach, just when I turn it back over to you whenever we have a guest on, and, you know, you and I have talked about Drew a number of times over the course of our, you know, short time together here at the beginning of the season. But, Coach, when you see Drew and you're coaching Drew, what does he really bring to this team? You know, what are the things that really help this team win? And then, Coach, you know, as we talk about your job and the organization's job is to prepare these young men for the next step in their hockey career, what are the things that you and the coaches are working on with Drew to help him prepare for the next level?
Well, I mean, I think first and foremost, the biggest thing that Drew brings to our team is character. He's an unbelievable human being, very, very mature. You can obviously tell, listen to him speak. He's a very well-spoken kid. He's very educated. He's a veteran. He's got great experience, great leadership qualities. Just in his natural presentation of himself and how he conducts his business day to day. You know, coming to the rink, how he prepares for practice, how he prepares for games. You know, it's something that our team, you know, welcomed and embraced as far as how he does things. You know, and then on the ice, he's a competitor, and that's what I love about him. He's a battler. He'll give you everything he has every single day in practice, every single game. He's quick, side to side, as you mentioned. He's athletic. He's technically sound. You know, he's just an all-around a good goaltender, a very, very good person. You know, so there's a lot of things that Drew brings to the table on and off the ice that are vital to our hockey club. And, you know, having two younger goalies along with him, you know, he's someone that they can look up to and kind of follow the lead as far as what it takes to you know, prepare yourself in this game and prepare yourself in this league and prepare yourself for the future. Like I said, if nothing else, above everything, in my opinion, is Drew's character, and that's almost, or probably is more important than anything they could do on the ice is what type of people they are and what they mean to the organization and the community. You know, so that's huge. And then from us, it's like we do with every player. We're trying to get Drew to the next level after the season, and obviously, short term is him helping our club have success. And then, in the long term is moving him on to the next level. And he's already had, quite a bit of interest, as he should. He's had a lot of teams that discuss different things with him. And, I think it's something that, he's very diligent in the process and, and in making sure that he follows all the steps and does everything the right way. And, obviously weighs everything when he's going to make a decision. And he's going to be a collegiate goaltender, as he should be. And, I'm looking forward to helping him, continue to help him with the process. And, like I said, just like him and the rest of our boys, they do the work on the ice, and us as coaches do as much work as we can off the ice and trying to get them to the next level. And hopefully it's the perfect formula for success.
Yeah, Coach, you brought up something. So, Drew, I want to ask you this. A couple of young goaltenders behind you, and you come in, and I'll call you the wily veteran coming in with some NAHL experience. But how much of, your practice, I know you're preparing to get your game better. You're looking out for what Drew's going to do next season. But how much does it matter to you to help develop these younger guys who will probably be playing again in NAHL next year, but you want to move on, of course. But how much do you think about being that mentor, and is that important to you?
Oh, it's absolutely important for me. The two younger guys on our team are two great kids. They're kids that I get along with very well. So, I don't just see them as, kids to mentor. They're my friends, and we're a hockey team, and we're more than friends. We become a family throughout the year. It's a long season. We spend a lot of time together, and they're my very best friends. So it means a lot to work with both of them and to try to help improve them. Like you said, obviously trying to prepare for my future is important, but nothing is ever more important than family. Family always comes first. So whenever I have an opportunity to help one of those two out, whether it be on the ice or off the ice, just adjusting to being away from home, whatever it may be, I want to help them out however I can, whenever I can. So it's very important for me. I've had a lot of fun helping those two out. Like I said, they're two great guys that I get along with very well. And it's something that, I take a lot of pride in being able to help them out. And I'm very happy and fortunate to be able to work with those two guys.
Well, Drew, I'm going to finish up the show with two questions. And so when I was preparing for when we were going to have you on the show, believe it or not, because as a former coach, I coach soccer, and it doesn't matter if you're a goalie in soccer or a goalie in hockey. You don't have all the marbles upstairs to sit in between the pipes and take lap shots left and right into your body all the time. And I mean that in the best of ways. You guys are crazy. Goaltenders are crazy. So when you look at your personality off the ice, are you a prankster? Are you more of a serious guy off the ice, or are you just, kind of laid back? Give the fans a little bit of the Drew Hotte personality off the ice, because they all know what you do on the ice. But what are you like off the ice?
Well, from my perspective, I believe that I'm just more of a laid-back kind of guy. I think, Coach Letizia might be able to inform me a little bit better. I'm not just trying to judge myself here. But, I definitely think I'm just more of a laid-back kind of guy.
He's a prankster. Don't let him fool you. I'm just kidding.
Well, I said goalies are crazy. They're crazy guys in a good way.
But, yeah, I just try to go with the flow of the rest of the team. And, obviously when I see an opportunity to make a little joke at a guy or something, I'm going to take that opportunity. But for the most part, I just try to go with the flow. I'm more laid back. I know that my job on the team is much different than a forward or a defenseman, so, I try to let them worry about the things that they have to worry about, and obviously try to support them when I can. But, I just am definitely more laid back. I let the other guys do whatever they will with all the pranking and joking around, because I figure the less that I prank guys, then the less I'll get pranked. So
there's a method to your madness, isn't there?
Yes, there is.
Well, great. Thanks for sharing that with the listeners. Now, I have one last question. And normally, of course, I'm talking to position players, so I asked them if they would like a breakaway at one-timer. As a goaltender, I want to know what you would feel more satisfied doing, stopping the breakaway when the guy's coming one-on-one with you, or making that glove save top shelf when a guy ripped a one-timer and he thinks he's buried it in the back of the net, and there's Drew sticking his glove up, making that great glove save, and just taking the air right out of that forward's head because he thought he buried the puck. Which of those two plays would make you more proud?
That's a really tough question, to be honest. And for me, there would be some extra factors that would have to go into that decision-making process, just the time in the game and the game time situation. But just from how you described the two situations, I think I'd have to go with the one-timer save. If the guy thought, he had a wide-open net, and then just being able to rob him of that opportunity.
Yeah, those are moments. I know breakaways and saves are great, but like you said, as a fan watching, when goaltenders make that glove save, when you're looking at it going, man, that should have been a goal, what a great play. So I agree with you. As a fan, that's one of those breathtaking moments where you're like, wow, how did he make that save? So, Drew, I appreciate you coming on the show today, and best of luck this weekend against Wilkes-Barre.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate the opportunity to be on.
All right, buddy. I can't wait to get down and watch you play and talk to you after a game. Coach?
I'm looking forward to it as well.
Coach, going to be another tough one this weekend, going on the road again, but I wish you the best of luck, and thanks for coming on the show again.
Thanks, as always. Third time's a charm, Troy, so it's our third show, so this way we're going to have success this week. So talk to you next week. Have a great one, buddy.
That's right, buddy. We'll talk next week, Coach.
All right, thanks.
All right, Mike, that brings you and I up to the greatest moment on the show. I shouldn't say that, but a great moment on the show. This is where we get the fans involved, let them know what's going on with Johnstown Tomahawk hockey. But I want to get your thoughts, Mike, from the administration level. Home opener on Friday. What was the atmosphere, and how do you think the overall success was of the weekend?
Well, from a administration standpoint, we had 7,058 combined through the first two games, which is great for us. The atmosphere was, second to none, and I've always said that the past two shows that we were really looking forward to it, and the fans stepped up, and it was really loud in here. And fortunately, they didn't get to see a win, but those will come. And team played very well, nothing to be ashamed of, and on all ends, I think we had a pretty good weekend, and now we put that behind us and get ready for the 25th and 26th.
Yeah, well, Mike, you were listening in while Coach was on the show, and this is a tough game. I mean, this is a team that you are looking up at in the standing, the rival game. It was going to be a tough weekend no matter what. The guys held their own. They went out and they played, and it's a long season. But when you look forward now, you guys had a great turnout over the weekend, 7,000 combined fans, and now we need to keep the fans coming for all these other homestands that are coming up. What are the newest promotions for the next homestand that are coming up?
Well, I mentioned this before, that we have our Black and Gold weekend coming up November 25th and 26th. That's a Friday and Saturday when we're hosting the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Knights. We're going to be wearing specialty black and gold jerseys, as well as, celebrating the heritage of Pittsburgh sports. This is a big Pittsburgh sports market. A lot of Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates fans, so that should be a good weekend. And also, it's post-Thanksgiving. It's the day after Thanksgiving, and we usually get a good turnout from there. People visiting their families from out of state come down for a game, and that's usually a very good weekend for us. And then the weekend after, the 3rd and 4th of December, Saturday and Sunday, we are back home against Northeast. We had that classic teddy bear toss, one of our more popular promotions on the 3rd, and then the 4th is Nonprofit Day. We're teaming up with the Community Foundation for the Alleghenies. They're passing out tickets to various nonprofits, and and they'll be at the game as well. So we have 4 good games coming up. And then, of course, we round out December with the traditional not home opener, but New Year's Eve. And that really sells itself. It's a tradition here. So, it's going to be an exciting couple of games, but we are very much looking forward to the 25th and 26th for Black and Gold weekend.
Yeah, definitely. And, like I just said, we need to keep the fans coming out. And, a lot of promotions going on, but I also know, Mike, that there are season ticket packages available. And, if you can't get to every game, I know you guys have some partial packages. So why don't you let the fans know how they can get their season tickets, individual game, or even a partial package season ticket plan?
It's not too late to get the 14-game package. We still offer those, obviously, up until we played our 15th game. But we're a bit of a ways from that. But we're always open for business here for season tickets, 14 and full game plans. And then for individual tickets, you can call the War Memorial box office and 536. That's 814-536-5156. Or you can call Ticketmaster at 1-800-745-3000. Or stop by the War Memorial box office from 10 to 4 p.m. every Monday through Friday. They will get you all situated with tickets. So if you want to avoid the lines, we suggest getting your tickets early, and we're expecting a pretty good turnout for next weekend.
Yeah, definitely, Mike. I want to end the show today, Mike, because there's one thing, as we do this show and we talk to coach, we talk to players, we talk about the success on the ice. We talk about how much the Johnstown Tomahawks are part of the Johnstown community. I want you just to be able to share with the listeners how involved the players are in the community and how important that is to an organization to have that community goodwill in Johnstown.
Well, without the community, we're not going to exist. It's just that simple. And we do, and I'm fairly confident in saying this. We go above and beyond the Call of Duty more so than I would say any other team in our league. Our guys are out and about every week, doing all sorts of things. So it's really important for us to get the outreach for the community. And like I said, without our fans, I'm not sitting here talking to you. So we do a whole lot, and we couldn't be more proud of that.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Mike, that is one thing that I've always been very proud of about Johnstown, and being a fan, is that this really is one of those organizations that they give back to the community because they realize how important the community is. And, you talk about, winning the contest at Hawkey America. That's what Johnstown is all about. So kudos to you guys. Go ahead.
We do a lot of, school visits, anti-bullying messages, and hospital visits. And we have a lot of exciting things planned for this year so far. So fans want to take a look at our website. We keep that updated with where we are in the community all the time. So just keep your eyes open at johnstowntomahawks.com for the latest.
Yeah, Mike, that, again, my kudos to the organization for doing that. And I'll tell you what, we talked to Coach about building character for these young kids as they prepare for the next level of hockey. And Coach said on the first show, when there's colleges calling or maybe scouts looking, that character piece is very important when they're looking at bringing in a player into their organization, whether it be college or the professional ranks. That character piece is very important, and you guys are actually fitting that. And again, my kudos to you for that. So, Mike, I talked to Coach before, and I said we're gonna buck the trend. A big weekend this week in Wilkes-Barre. But as always, another great show, Mike. You have anything else for the listeners today?
Well, hopefully they buck the trend. I mean, we need to get some W's on the board, but I'm sure Coach Mike and Coach Nick will prepare our guys for this weekend. Wilkes-Barre is a very tough team. They're not going to go away. They're not. They're going to give us a run for our money here. So hopefully we're hoping for 4 points by the series end and bringing those wins home to the War Memorial the 25th and 26th.
Yep, and it's like we mentioned earlier, it's an away home series, so they get to see Wilkes-Barre for 4 games, and make sure you get out, get your ticket, go support the boys. Mike, that's all the time we have for today. So as always, go Tomahawks, and I'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good. Sounds like a plan, Troy. Thank you very much.
All right, Mike. Have a good day, bud.
You too.
Well, folks, this is the third period of the show, but with such a great guest today, I'm actually going to call this the overtime period. Thanks for listening in. I want to give special thanks to Coach Mike Letizia, always for sharing his time. I know he's a busy guy. And then special thanks also to goalie Drew Hotte for taking time out of his busy day to join me on the show today. And as always, communications manager Mike Gosnell, always a great asset to talk about the Tomahawk promotions and everything that's going on within the organization. So we're going to wrap up the show with your stat leaders and take a look at the East Division standings in the NAHL. Not a lot of change, actually no change in your top five. Dalton Hunter still leads the team in scoring with 23 points, 11 goals, 12 assists. Donovan Ott, second in points with 22. He is your goal leader with 12 goals. He also has tallied 10 assists. Third scoring leader, Philip Bunches. He is your assist leader with 16. He's also netted 5 goals on the season. Number 4, Hayden Rowan, 17 points, 4 goals, 13 assists. And rounding out your top 5, Samuel Solinsky with 16 points, 6 goals, and 10 assists. Your goalies, you got 3 good young goalies, actually 2 good young goalies, 1 veteran goalie in Drew Hotte, who we just talked to. His record, 5-3-0-1, a 2.63 goals against average with a .912 save percentage. Britt League, still undefeated as a goalie, 4-0-1-0 with a 2.74 goals against average, a .910 save percentage. And then Vinny Purpura, it has a 4-2-0-0 record, 2.87 goals against average, and an .897 save percentage. So that rounds out your stat leaders for this week. And as we take a look at the NAHL Eastern Division, unfortunately, we've seen the Tomahawks slip a little bit in the standings after tough road trips in New Jersey and losing a couple to the rival Aston Rebels at home over the weekend. Aston is in first place at 18-3-0-0 with 36 points. New Jersey has jumped up to second place with a 14-5-1-0 record, good for 29 points. Your Tomahawks are at 13-5-1-1, 28 points, 1 point behind New Jersey for second place in the division. Then you have Wilkes-Barre, who they travel to play this weekend. They are 9-12-0-0, 18 points, so a good opportunity this weekend to get 4 pivotal points from Wilkes-Barre. And then, of course, rounding out the bottom of the division, Northeast is 0-18-1-0, 1 point, as they still search for that first victory. As far as the conference rounds out, the Tomahawks presently are in 6th place in the conference. Well, folks, the horn has sounded, and this episode of Hawkey Central is done, over, complete. Hope you enjoyed the show today. Again, let's interact on Twitter. You can find me at TroyRobert967. Tweet your questions for Coach, and we'll get them on the show next week. So have a great week, everybody. And next week, Coach and I will talk about the weekend series against Wilkes-Barre. Go Hawks!